Virgo, welcome to your reading. I've laid your cards to see if you want to stay around. I'm in the shed today because it's really raining. There's a lot to do with intuition and setting your sights. I feel like there's something a little bit burdensome in your energy, so you're sort of intuitively trying to work out how to work with what you've got going on at the moment. You've got a very good attitude and a lot of sort of good executive function, like you're sort of really planning really well. And where you're headed is like you're almost at this really beautiful end, but we've got to work out some advice cards to get you there. Anyway, if that feels right for you, then I'll just dive straight in. Stick around. So you're turning up as the High Priestess. This is your intuition. This is you being able to just know things, being very steady, being able to observe, being able to understand emotional situations, the deep meaning in situations. It's a deep, intuitive knowing. And so there's some sort of feeling that you've come across recently that's deeply rooted in you about understanding. And that's what's informing everything. There's something, I'm looking for the first time ever at the thing around her neck, which is a shell. It's like a shell that you might hear something from, you know, one of those ones you put to your ear at the beach and you hear the seaside, or no, when you're not at the beach and you hear the seaside. But it's also that symbol of the goddess. So it might be that you're getting in touch with your inner goddess, regardless of which gender or how you identify. There's a sense of an inner goddess, because I've really never seen that before on this. I've never really looked at it. So it's interesting that it's popping up. So this is an important part of your identity, and you're needing to be able to bring it more into the outside, I would say. How this makes you act is with the Three of Pentacles. So looking for other energies to partner with, it might be that you're looking for modalities in which to express this sort of inner goddess. It might be that you're communicating with people about it. It might be that you're doing some sort of divination like this. It might be that you're kind of working, yeah, maybe that's the truest meaning, is that you're working with that idea of divination. You're trying to, that's it, you want to work now really seriously with all your inner knowing. It seems to be very important to you at the moment, and you feel you can build something quite amazing with it. Usually we see a cathedral being built. Here we've got these very helpful little birds, so it is like your intuition building something rather beautiful. It's interesting to me that it's building a kind of a brickwork poppy illusion, brickwork, very at odds with a flower. It feels quite AI to me at the moment when I look at it. Are you dismantling that, or are you building it? Well, you would be building it with the Three of Pentacles. So you're building, maybe you're building something in the sphere of the God, look at me sounding so old-fashioned. In the can't even reach the word. I'm feeling so sort of grounded. In the online, that's it. Online, maybe you're building something online that communicates something of your intuition. But the fact that it's a poppy is interesting to me. Poppies are a medicine, but they can also tip into narcotics, can't they? And I was thinking a lot about this, you know, people talk about spiritual bypassing and being overly positive and ignoring what the reality of things is. I mean, it's kind of weird, because I sort of almost feel the way that the algorithm works is you look at one post about that and then you get a few, and I wonder whether it's something to do with me doing this, for instance, and trying to always find the deepest, kindest, most uplifting message. And I would hate it to be not true at the same time, because sometimes things aren't wonderful. But ultimately, for me, they always are. That's the truth. Even if you have to go through extreme pain, and you definitely have to feel all the feelings, you have to go through grief and all of those things in life, it's all taking you somewhere that is good. But I did see a little thing about, sorry, I'm just going to riff on this because it's coming into my mind. I did see a little thing about Jung, and I can't remember the word that he used for it, but it's that idea that you tip into the opposite whenever you become too associated with one kind of state. So the other will find a way of finding itself expressed through you. You'll either project it on somebody else, or you'll start to sort of, it will come out. So trying to be too good, trying to be too upbeat, at the exclusion of what reality is, it's not going to stave off the reality of it. So that's coming to me from the image of the poppy. So I think whatever you're building, whatever you're building might be about that. It might be understanding the medicine in the narcotic, in the fact that one has to be delicate with, like, all feelings are okay, all states are okay, allowed to move through us very, very quickly, not, when I say all, nothing desperately negative, but you know what I mean, is that all the emotions are all right, so long as they move quickly enough, so long as they don't become narcotic in nature because we become addicted to too much positivity or something. Maybe that's what you're building. Maybe that's what you're aware of. Maybe you're trying to find a balance between the truth that your intuition's showing you and the unpalatable bits that you're not kind of leaving out. Anyway, I'm going to put a pin in that and we'll come back to it. At the basis of the reading is the Queen of Swords, so that does seem to sort of stand up to what I'm saying, because we've also got the King of Swords coming out. It's a very clear-eyed view of things. Look at her, she's on top of her balloon, she's got her binocular, her telescope. The Queen of Swords is someone who really likes the truth. She's super intelligent, like Virgos can be, are usually. She's very, very clear. She likes reality. She likes facts. She doesn't sugarcoat things. Maybe this is why I'm talking about all of this. That's interesting. This is the first time I've sort of got back into the swing of doing these longer form videos, because I've been using a lot of energy in my other job, which is to do with events. And it's interesting. I just love how this happens, but that does make sense. If I just sort of let the words come and I don't second guess them. So something to do with not sugarcoating reality. This is the basis of it, but with a deeply intuitive understanding, with a deeply wise understanding of life. And the Queen of Swords, she's not overly nice to people either. She's the sort of flip side of she is in love because she's the queen and all the queens give love, but she's the flip side of the Queen of Cups, who has been too giving, and then she flips a bit, exactly like that Jungian thing I was talking about. I was always taught in tarot that when you give, like that Queen of Cups, she suddenly flips into this kind of alter persona of the Queen of Swords, who's like the divorcee, the sort of tough speaking, no nonsense friend of the pack. It's kind of when you give, and then you feel your boundaries come down and you're like, no, enough already. So knowing how to be balanced, I think that's what it's about. And maybe even balanced so that you're not too Queen of Swords, somewhere in between, because we can see you internally as this incredibly wise being. You don't want to become so brusque that you can't show that to people, although the Queen of Swords would write a wonderful book if that's what you're doing. In the recent past, we've got the King of Wands. It's the female version in this pack. There are male and females of all the royals in this, or the kings and queens. Very resplendent, so feeling very passionate about something with your flaming wand, ready to be seen, ready to follow your passions, ready to be in charge. It's quite authoritative energy, this whole reading. It's really interesting. So that's something that's happened in the recent past. And coming up as a potential outcome, we've got the Two of Swords, which is the minor to the High Priestess. So it indicates you, when I see the High Priestess as your inner being, and I see this coming out as your potential outcome, it makes me think, because the Two of Swords is when you're holding the two swords like this and you're trying to make a decision, you've got your blindfold on, these are getting heavy, you need to come down on one side or the other, you're grasping for your intuition rather than being in it, which we know is your true sense. So it's almost like you don't quite dare be fully yourself yet in this version. Now, in the way that this Celtic cross runs, we look at your inner and outer world, what's been surrounding you and what's at the basis. And so this outcome is based on that. And then we get your attitude and your hopes and wishes and your environment, and that gives us another outcome. So just in what's been going on recently and what's at the basis, maybe that Queen of Swords might be a bit restrictive to you. Excuse me, I'm just picking these up. I've come into the shed and there was something creeping around in the corner. If you see something up in that corner, ooh, I don't know what it is, but there's a little bit of evidence with droppings as well. So let's see if you see something up in the top right-hand corner. Anyway, so I think, yeah, it shows that you're still not quite there. You're not stepping into your full power here. You're still deciding whether you can really come down on the side of what's really going on intuitively with you. So that's interesting to me. Coming up in the near future, we've got you, the Ten of Wands, rather overburdened, a little bit obsessive about work and sort of dreaming of a more innocent time, a kind of more nostalgic time when things were easier, when you were lolling around on the grass, thinking about childhood concerns, playing with balloons. You know, the lightness of those balloons lifting off in contrast with this burden. So I think that, again, those opposites, trying to own both opposites, that seems to be what this reading is about. So like that Three of Pentacles that is building a brickwork version of a flower that is a poppy. So brick and petal, poppy medicine, poppy narcotics, this sort of idea of the telling the truth and trying not to sort of sugarcoat things, but also trying not to get too negative. So here, coming up in the future, the lightness of the balloons or the heaviness of, even though they're rather beautiful flowers, they're breaking her back and she's becoming obsessed with them with the Ten of Wands. She's becoming a workaholic. It's too much. She risks missing where her destination is. We haven't got the destination in this card. Normally we see a village and she risks walking straight past it because she's holding all these wands and she can't see beyond it. Whereas this languorous figure is really enjoying life, watching, allowing everything to let go. Letting go or taking on too much. That is what's going to be in your ether coming up. Like, how do I just be light, but not too light because I want to do my work, because I love these flowers. These flowers are beautiful, but I don't want them to break my back. But I also love this feeling of letting go, of being connected to nostalgic themes, to trusting. In your attitude, it's really wonderful. It's the Nine of Cups. You've got a wonderful attitude. It's of wish fulfillment, really, and you've got your eye on the prize. You want the sort of wish fulfillment. You want everything to be fun. You want all your cups lined up, like her fan here. Normally we see the chap with all his cups above him and a curtain behind, and it's like the bon vivant. So there's an element of being rather resplendent and fun and wanting to have a laugh and looking for your wish fulfillment. And I think your wish fulfillment is metabolizing these two states. In your environment, the King of Swords, so as I mentioned, we've got at the basis the Queen of Swords and now the King of Swords. Again, this kind of rather kind of clear-eyed, mentally sharp, disconnected potentially a bit from his heart with the King of Swords. So the Queen of Swords is in touch with her heart because all the queens are in touch with their heart. But the King of Swords can be a bit of a toughie. He's the CEO. It's not that he doesn't have a heart. He just likes to operate from the mental realm. And he's got his samurai sword here. And this bird it's interesting. We see this bird like this in the sun. it covers the eye of the figure in the sun, which we haven't got on your spread, but in this pack does exactly the same thing. So he's using his intuition, he's thinking about manifestation, because that's what the sun is, and he is being positive. You know, he's not getting caught in the mire of kind of negative thought. He's being very, very positive. So maybe you're in a really kind of good work frame of mind. Maybe you want to get things done, be really positive, use your Queen of Swords, get really logical. Maybe you are writing about this kind of mix of realities, but from a deeply intuitive place. In your hopes and fears, the moon, you want clarity. This is a fear here. Well, hopes and fears. So if it was a fear, you would say you were fearing that you don't quite see everything. It's under the moon. Here we only have the wild fox. We don't have the tamed wolf. Sorry, the tamed dog, which we usually see in the illustration. But we've got her kind of tentacles feeling their way under the light of the eclipse moon, which we've just had. So as a fear, it would be feeling a bit overwhelmed, not feeling clear, you know, this dichotomy between these states, not being able to be metabolized like we see in your potential outcome, not knowing how to make a decision based on all the different realities, your emotional truths. But as a hope, as a wish, it would say that you want to be able to delve deep into the realms of the unconscious, the artist realms, the realms which give rise to really great art, really, you know, the bits that we all want examined. Maybe that is the work that you're doing. So maybe as it's more of a wish, it might be saying, I want to be able to grapple with these things that other people find difficult. I want to bring some light to it. And as an outcome, we've got this fascinating mix of the beautiful Ten of Cups, again with those sort of tendrils, but this time they're plant matter, with all the lovely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is it 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, 10 little golden fishes. That would make more sense. This beautifully happy couple. So it's kind of a state of complete balance and almost idealistic happiness, but it's coming with the card of absence, delay and separation. I know everyone sees heartbreak, but actually what it says here, in fact this is so perfect. Yeah, I hadn't read, when I saw it to start with I was like, it doesn't make sense to me, but now that I've allowed my mouth to run, it does make sense. This card is about absence, delay and separation. It's the Three of Swords. It says, bring logic to the heart. And here is a card of pure heart, pure happiness. The Ten of Cups, absolute happiness. But it's, as a outcome, it's perfect for your reading, because it's saying you're indulging and bringing into the world this beautiful, idealistic, possibly, you know, when we talk about spiritual bypassing or whatever you want to call it, when you're too positive, you could give that criticism to this card, but here it's balanced by bringing logic to the heart, which is the advice of this, bringing a little bit of those King and Queen of Swords in. I love it. I actually think it's perfect. It's like you're not falling for being too overly you're being realistic, and yet I'm scaring myself. That was just my phone thing. Every time there's a noise, and yet you're being realistic, and yet you're still holding this beautiful vision. I wonder what it is you're working on. I'm going to pull you a oracle card. It could just be you. Make space for change. Right, I'm going to read the little book. Look at these illustrations. They're just gorgeous. Make space for change. So she's not got much space around her because she's got all these bounties. What's that reminding me of? A bit of the Ten of Swords with all this beauty, but too much of it. Needing a little bit of that Six of Cups, that sort of innocence and nostalgia. Let's see what the little book says. Number 11, make space for change. Such a nice rainy day today. All things wither and die. Do not despair. You are not just an intentional creatrix, but an effortless one as well. You create all the time. Right? These are really interesting words. Let's think about that in context to what we've been saying. It's allowing the bit that we don't really love, the dying off. It's allowing what we perceive as negative, but is just a form of transformation. So, all things wither and die. Do not despair. You are not just an intentional creatrix, but an effortless one as well. You create all the time. The same way a rose bush produces roses, you produce thoughts, ideas, inspirations, and dreams all the time. When the rose of one project, plan, or relationship withers, another is budding. You are not the flower, you are the bush. So beautiful. Time to act like it. The Scots have a saying, what is for you will not go by you. This is the wisdom of the moment. Let go. Let go. Okay, so this is putting a new spin on things. Let go. By releasing, you are dropping resistance to all that wants to flower anew within you. So sort of let go and be she would be the bush, and the two of swords is trying to be the rose, if you see what I mean. It's trying to have intuition, whereas the High Priestess just is intuition. It's saying you are this creatrix. You can allow in the kind of other side of things, allow things to move. You don't have to micro control them. You can allow things to move and die and transform, and you will still be moving closer and closer and closer to this beautiful truth. Even this beautiful, loving 10 of Cups, even if you have absence, delay, and separation, even if you need to bring a bit of logic to the heart, what is for you will not go by you. I agree with that entirely. So it's not being frustrated if you're temporarily thwarted in love because it wasn't yours. It's not being frustrated. It's letting go of some of what you think is so beautiful, like in this 10 of Wands. Let go of some of those flowers. Let go and allow something deep from your nostalgic childhood to take place. And then the sort of poison is released a bit. You know, the poison in these states is only really poisonous to us when we hold on, when we allow, is that right? Yeah, that's the words that want to come out. When we allow things to metabolize, then it's fine. Right, I'm going to pull you a couple more capping cards and then we'll close out. So let's start with, we've got the Rider-Waite here. Let's start with the Rider-Waite and then we'll go on to these other lovely exuberant ones. In fact, let's start with the other ones. So could we have a capping card? Too many. We have a capping card for Virgo and raindrops, because it's so rainy this morning. 6 of Swords, so beautiful. Shows you moving all the parts of you. Usually it's a whole family being moved, but here there's your inner child being moved safely from very stormy waters into, or stormy skies in this case, into something more palatable. So that resonates with the 6 of Cups. And so I think the way you do it is by letting go of some of the concerns, some of the things that you think are really beautiful that you have to do, and actually sort of paring things down, allowing, yeah, I sort of want to return to this idea of, you know, how the medicine, how things not bypassing stuff. Maybe in this case what you're not bypassing is, what you're trying not to bypass is the feeling of letting go of these emotions, so that they don't become, so that you're authentic in those moments, so that you can get into calmer waters, something like that. And let's get a Rider-Waite. It's really lovely. It's really lovely. I also like the idea of you being quite a realist. Yeah, the Judgment card. You're having a real revelation here. This is a big moment for you. How many? Yeah, this is our 3rd major on the table, and it's kind of saying these are revelations. This is deeply buried parts of yourself that are waking up because you've heard the clarion call of this angel. It's a sort of understanding, an epiphany, something to do with letting go, something to do with allowing the truth of what your emotions are and not being frightened of them and allowing them to sort of cycle through, and it's all okay and you don't have to micromanage, because you're coming towards this really beautiful Ten of Cups. Okay, there might be a tiny bit of absence, and okay, you might need to use a bit of logic to get there, but that's just real life. It's like the sort of reality check that I feel that we're looking at here. And ultimately, you are this incredible intuitive being. So I think you know all of this, and maybe you're writing about this if this isn't your life path. And your attitude is wonderful with the 9 of Cups. So real 9 to the 10, 9 cups to the 10 of Cups. You're really working towards a state of great happiness and balance. It's beautiful, Virgo and Raindrop people. See you again.